Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review, and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. And today I'm here to review and discuss 8 Billion Genies by Charles Soule and Ryan Browne. I remembered that well. I did check Ryan Browne. And I'm also joined today by my good friend Charlie.
Hi, hello, I'm Charlie. I also read, review, and discuss fantasy and science fiction books on the internet.
Yeah, if you don't follow Charlie, he's got a fantastic YouTube channel called Charlie Read a Book. And there's a great intro with a dog in it. Big fan.
Thank you, thank you. The dog is actually here with us. I don't know if you can see him. There he is.
Oh,
Yeah. Hi, Bagel.
hi, Bagel.
He's passed out.
And yeah, we're here today to discuss 8 Billion Genies. So Charlie's holding it up. I don't know whether you saw that or whether the camera stayed with me. But the format today is, because I've not done like a full review for this one, we're going to go non-spoiler to begin with, and then there will be a definitive switch where we will go spoiler mode, and then we'll fully chat our disappointments, loves, likes, etc. with this particular comic. A little bit of history on this one. So this was conceived apparently in 2015, where Charles Soule and Ryan Browne were basically hanging out, and they were trying to pitch at each other stories that were impossible to tell. And Ryan came up with 7 Billion Genies, and then they eventually, 7 years later, actually put it to paper.
And added a billion genies.
Yeah, well, there were 8 billion people in the world by that point. Was there only 7 when they initially came up with the concept?
That's so funny.
That's how you can tell how long you take to put together a show, comic even. So Charles Soule, this is my first Charles Soule comic. I don't know about you.
Yeah, same. Also my first.
So he wrote Daredevil. He took over Daredevil from Mark Waid, who did like my favorite ever Daredevil run. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to give Daredevil a break for a while. But he's actually a lawyer. So like he's the first lawyer to write Daredevil. And so I've always wanted to go back and pick it up. I never got around to it.
That's funny. I wonder like if you can tell those differences, like if you'll be able to tell, like, oh, there's a lot more courtroom stuff or anything like that.
16 pages of this issue is Matt looking at briefs. But I very much wanted a chance to like sample Charles Soule, and when you were like, oh, I want to read 8 Billion Genies, I was like, yes, please, me too. So that's the origin of not just 8 Billion Genies, but why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
So Charlie, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I liked it. I definitely liked it. I picked it up only because I was looking for a gift for my father-in-law, and he has read like everything. I bought him something and then brought it to him, and he was like, oh no, I already read that. I forgot what it was. So I went back to the store like same day. And I was like, this man has read everything. Give me some options. And they pitched me 3. And I bought 3. I bought 2 of the things that they pitched me, but I bought 2 copies of one of them. And that was, oh, hello balloons. And that was so I bought this for him, and I bought it for me. And the guy was raving about it, and I think I see why. Like, I think I see why people love it. And for me, I think the first half, especially, like I really liked it. And then by the end, I think I landed on like a 3.5. I think like it was definitely good, but yeah, I think it left me wanting a little more. How about you?
Yeah, I think very similar thoughts in that it felt very high concept towards the end. So the like reality of it in the opening few issues was really good, but once it got a bit further and further and further into that high concept, I was like, oh, less exciting, you know?
Yeah, I always mention whenever I read these books and I talk about them, I feel like I often mention, like in books that I don't fully vibe with, where I mention that it's the believability. Like I lost it lost some believability for me towards the end, and I know that always sounds ridiculous because obviously this is a book about 8 billion genies, and like where's the believability? But there's still it's rooted here on Earth, and it's still rooted in humanity and like human beings, human brains. And I feel like at the beginning, especially, it was very, it felt like realistic things, like realistic wishes. And I was like, oh my God, I could totally see myself making that wish like impulsively and then regretting it later. Or like, trying to, like, I could see myself trying to work my way towards this wish and, and things like that. And that was really cool. But by the end, some of that I felt like was slipping away. I don't know if you felt the same, but some of that I was just like, I don't know how even would you phrase that wish. There was some of that, like I'm seeing the results of somebody's wish on a page, but I don't understand how you could have gotten to that point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you're seeing the completed Lego and you're like, I didn't even know those pieces existed.
exactly like that. Yeah.
And I think, very much. I think we're very much the same thought process here, in that like it's a really good opening, and I think that especially the stuff in the bar where you have the I mean, this is very mild spoilers, but the bar that they all start in is immune to genie wishes in many ways, and that, I think, really grounds the book. But then when it leaves the bar later on in the story, I think that's when things start to get a bit out of hand. Does that make sense?
Totally, fully, for the characters and for the readers.
Yeah. I love the few like early scenes of how chaotic and insane everything is, and that's really good. Like I think the original concept, they said that the reason it was impossible to write and to create was because Charles Soule essentially said, well, if you give everyone on Earth a genie, one person will wish that everyone is a battery, and then like that's it. Or like turn water into ice cream cones, and like that's it, that's the world done. And he was like, so we had to kind of write around that.
And they did. They worked in, like, the genies had rules, right? Like there were, which I don't think that's a spoiler, right? The genies are very openly like, there are some parameters, and we do. The genies kind of have like the final say in a way, right? So, which I thought was interesting, and I thought it was a good safety net for the writers, definitely, but also for making this story make any sense at all. Like, because absolutely, like, instantly it would just be over, like they were worried about. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that they wove in a safety net.
Yeah. And I think we haven't really touched upon exactly the kind of concept of the book, which is that so every single person on Earth at the exact same second gets a genie, and that genie then it allows them one wish. So they don't get three like in Aladdin. They get one specific wish, and then the kind of we have a kind of cast of characters that have gathered at a bar, and then these characters. It's kind of we kind of follow those characters, and the concept of the book as well is quite kind of. There's 8 issues, and each one moves forward in time frames. So we have 8 seconds, 8 minutes, 8 hours, 8 days, 8 years, 800 years, 8,000 years, and then like 80,000 years. I think that's
Something
where
like that, yeah.
I think that's where we end up in the final issue. Its first 8 centuries is the finale. So it's 8 centuries, 8 decades, 8 years. So it's quite interesting that issue 5 is where it becomes the first 8 months, and I feel like issue 5 is the last one that I was like really all in on. And when it becomes a bit more high concept, and they kind of want to introduce a like villainous character or like a antagonist, that's kind of where the book kind of, I don't know, derails a little bit. Which is interesting because I feel like normally you'd introduce an antagonist to like keep the story on target.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. Let's should we shift into should we talk art first and then shift into the spoiler zone?
Yeah,
So,
art, and then like maybe even like lightly characters. But
yeah.
The art was very interesting. It was like tricky almost. Like some parts of the art I really did vibe with, and some parts were a little too, I don't even know, like almost realistic, like hyper realistic in like the faces specifically. But then outside of the faces, some of the proportions were a little funny, and like in the body design of some of the people. But I thought that the like landscapes and like the buildings and stuff were really cool. Like a really, really well done. And the colors were like super vibrant colors. Like I hold up a page here. I don't know if you can tell with my lighting, but there's like a lot of in just bright, vibrant colors. And also just, and I won't hold up more because spoilers everywhere, but there's a lot of just like creature design that's really cool. Like really well done, really inventive too. So I like that.
Yeah, I like the ideas as well of like, this is what an 8-year-old might think a superhero looks like, or like this is what someone might want a kaiju to look like. You know, like a lot of the design seems to be through the human lens, which I really liked. And I really love the genie design.
Yes.
The genies managed to nail the Funko Pop school of design, where all of them look like a genie, but all of them look like the thing they're supposed to look like the different things, which I did really like. And I felt the genies had a really strong personality.
Definitely.
And there's a couple of pages that really stand out as well. Like when I was flicking through it a minute ago, and the full page spread of the bartender, where he's just like, oh, and he does this big reveal, and I was like, oh, this really stands out when you flick through. And like the color was really good. Like I'm not an artist, and I don't know how art works, but I will say I thought the color was really strong. Like you said, like color and the line work was really, really good. It reminded me a little bit of The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's kind of like a step to the left of realism in many ways. And yeah, I really liked it.
I like how layered it was. Like too, like because I have it in front of me right here, and I'm just like, as you're talking, I'm flipping through the pages, and it's like almost every big shot, at least you see what's happening in the foreground, right? And then you look behind the characters, and there's just absurd things happening, and it's never talked about. Like most of the things that this artist must have had just so much fun drawing are never referenced even once, like in a passing comment. It's just like a crazy thing flying around, punching a different insane thing, and it's like, whoa. Like, that it must have, like, the artist, I'm looking right now, and again, this is not spoilers because this is never mentioned. It doesn't matter at all to the story, but there's a giant like walking Swiss cheese walking arm in arm with a giant corn on the cob. Like, what? Why is that there? It doesn't matter. But like the artist just, I feel like they were just like, have fun, and he did. So I love that.
Yeah, that it's the design that he's done is really, really strong, and like everything looks unique. And although it's all rendered in his style, everything is quite unique and interesting. It's the artwork, I think, is a real, especially the early few issues where you get a lot of the mad stuff. I thought was really well done.
Yeah. definitely.
So let's talk characters then. So who did you have any personal favorites or?
So that's my thing, and that maybe this falls slightly into the spoiler territory, but I wanted to ask you that question because like I don't know if I did like I think that was part of part of my issue with it was like, and I guess yeah, we're maybe breaching into spoiler territory here potentially. I don't know that I loved any of the characters. Like I didn't I guess I didn't feel like I cared all that much about any of them except for one because there's a baby involved. And I was like, okay, I want you to be okay, but like the rest of them, they were all, I have no issue with them. They're all fine, but I feel like I wasn't, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I wasn't like dying to get back to one character's story. I almost feel like we weren't given enough time with any individual character. Like maybe there were too many characters, because of the rapid pace here. And it's like, okay, massive time skips by the end. And it's like you said, it goes from 8 seconds to 800 years or, and then it just, at a certain point, I was like, I don't know enough about these characters. We're skipping too much time. I don't know what's happened in between the last time I saw them and now, enough for me to like care about them. I don't know if you had that issue.
Yeah, I think exactly as you say, like the time jumps mean that the story kind of becomes about the concept and less about the characters. And it does feel like the creators are much more concerned with how wild and wacky can this world of genies be, and much less concerned with like how does this one particular character feel about the world of genies. And there's a couple of really good emotional moments, but I think that doesn't really carry across, and especially in the final section, I think we don't get much emotional character in the final like 3 issues, where, I'd like to say, the massive time jumps, I think, are the problem there, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely, totally.
Does make it unique though, that is the thing. And like I think that it's a really unique story, and if you're up for something that is really high concept, it is like reading a big high concept sci-fi book, where one of the big problems I have with some sci-fi stuff is that it seems more concerned with the concept than the character. And this is very much the same. Like I think Three Body Problem, when I read that, I was like, all they want to talk about here is like ideas and concepts, and they don't really want to talk about how people feel about those things. And we get some of that here in 8 Billion Genies. Although there's a couple of, like I say, a couple of really good relationships that I liked, like the father and the son who lose their wife. Thought that was really good. And the band,
Father and his son
like
who lose. The father loses his wife. The son loses his mother.
They don't lose wives. But yeah, I really like the band. I thought the band was really well done.
Yeah, the band. I think if I had to pick a favorite, it probably would be one of those two groups. At the beginning, maybe the father and the son, and then maybe towards the middle, that switched maybe to the band members.
Should we switch over into the old spoiler zone?
Full spoilers ahead. Yeah.
So if you're still watching and you haven't read this book, you either are okay with spoilers, or you are never planning on reading this and you're just watching this because you like us, which is great for me and Charlie personally. But yeah, let's go deep into the spoilers. So did you guess that the bartender was a genie?
I didn't guess that, and I also didn't want that. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like he had his big reveal, and I did it the largest eye roll. I was like, "Ah, man, like that sucks." How about you?
I was like surprised by it. Like I definitely was like, oh, okay. I knew something was up with this dude.
Yeah, something was up.
And I think that the interesting thing about it felt almost originally, I was like, oh, is he going to be like an ex-military agent or like somebody who's just super smart or something like that? Because he straight away makes that wish that is no wish made outside this bar can affect this bar or anything inside the bar, and he makes it instantly. Which it's a great storytelling device because we have this location to go back to. But yeah, him being the last remaining genie from the previous genie culling, I thought was an interesting but not like it was an interesting idea, but I, like you say, I wasn't like over the moon for it.
I almost felt like when it happened, I was like, okay, like he's a genie, sure. But then, you know, he was a genie, right? Like he says he is a genie. He's the whole time he is a genie, but he kind of was like he did get a genie here. He is a person now, right? Like, but he was a genie, so he knows how this works. And then I was like, okay, I get that. But then kind of immediately I was like, then why was this his wish? And then by the end, I was like, oh, okay, then really, why was this his wish? Because it almost seems like the genies are trying to get the people to make this stop, right? Like to fix this. And then he was a genie. He had that goal. He's brought here now as a person, and he has the opportunity to make it stop. But I guess he also hasn't figured out I don't know. I just still feel like, I don't know. If I had seen all of this and I had made it to the end of this, I would have a more sophisticated wish, you know, even in that he made a safe haven. We got to see by the end of this several other safe havens that were honestly more interesting than a bar. And like, if you're going to make that safe haven wish, spice it up a little. I don't know.
Make the bar a palace. But it's interesting, like you say, it did really give the story a grounding in the bar, and I liked that. Like, I think a lot of the story takes place there. Like, I feel like the first 3 issues, right? Nobody really leaves the bar.
I'm pretty sure that's true. Yeah, and I think at the end of the 3rd is when Robbie, the boy, that's I'm looking at it now. That's when he leaves, and I think that's like the first one of them to actually venture out. I can't remember when the like the dad of the future dad, like the guy with the pregnant wife, when he leaves. I think it was later than that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he leaves a little bit after that.
Yeah,
but I think it's quite interesting that Robbie does the superhero wish, which I think is like a lot of people are like, yeah, I would do the superhero wish. And he's like, out there saving people, and then a dude just gets like absolutely pretzeled in front of him by a supervillain, and it's like, oh man, I can't deal with this. I'm only 12, and he's like, oh, I'm 8. And it's like, oh god, this is heartbreaking.
It was also really sobering for me because I don't know about you, but the whole time I was reading this, I was like, what wish would I make? And I was like, definitely to be a superhero. And then they introduced these superheroes, and they're like all children. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm the mind of a child. I absolutely would choose to be a superhero. But oops, I can't do that. I'm an adult.
I think superheroes are great as long as there are no supervillains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think you could make that wish? Just be like, I'd like to be a superhero and also be the only superpower being. No, probably wouldn't work.
So I don't know. Actually, that brings me into one of my big complaints about the wish system here. I'm also realizing I probably sound pretty nasally. I've been sick for like a week and a half. But
you can't wish that away.
Yeah, I can't wish that away. I had an issue with the wishes, and I don't know if this bothered you, but a lot of the wishes were like structured as like, I wish for and this. Like, I wish for blank and this. Like, a lot of them had an addition to them, and I was like, okay, well, that is 2 wishes. Like, I don't know where the line should be drawn there. I can't think of any examples, but there were definitely a handful of wishes made where where I was thinking to myself, like, okay, if I was that genie, I would grant half of this wish because like you're asking a little too much. Like the way Robbie does his superhero thing, he just shows them a drawing and he's like, I want to be this. And that works for me because I feel like they know what he is thinking, kind of, right? And they can understand that and work through what he's asking for. But some of the other, I wish I could pull up an example right now, but some of them, it was a little too much. Like, I don't know if you felt that.
Yeah, I think that there's a few times where, like, especially I think the idea man later in the book, who's kind of the antagonist, I guess, he lawyers his wishes with like a wish committee that like come up with the perfect language for these wishes, and like that was fun. Like conceptually, that was quite a fun idea.
Yes.
But it, like I say, there's a lot of people who come up with a wish on the fly that does not feel very like single wish. It feels like they're trying to make a load of stuff happen. Like I think the first wish by I can't remember the name of the girl in the band, but she's like she says, I wish Browne would love me, romantic love. He would have romantic feelings for me. And you're like, that's kind of like two wishes there. But I guess the genie kind of interprets it, like you say, as well.
That's how I guess I could give them a little bit of leeway there because they do have their rules and they do have, a say in how the wish is granted and stuff like that. So I guess it's fair, but sometimes it felt a little much.
I really enjoyed the where you find out that basically all old people wish to be young again. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I like that.
And someone in Rome wished they could be a footballer, and they just turned into that specific footballer.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that was good.
There's a lot of really good ideas especially in the opening issue. I think there's a lot of really good, like, these are the fun wish ideas. I like that everyone can see each other's genies as well, like that they're all like hovering around. I thought that was quite funny.
I thought that was funny, and I thought it was also a good plot device too, because it's like they almost became like a currency. Like you became valuable because I can see this little guy floating around your shoulder, and like if you didn't have that, I'd shoot you. But since you do have that, come on in. Like that was a very real. I don't know, that was cool. I like that. I like that. Even the baby. I liked the little genie floating around the pregnant woman's stomach before the baby's born. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
It's quite funny that we can't really remember any of the characters' names. And like I read this like 3 days ago, and like there's absolutely no, like, this isn't a badly written book. It's not. It's fun the whole way through. Definitely. I think that the ideas and the concepts sometimes work better in this comic than maybe they would in a high concept sci-fi, because you can see what's happening and you can see beyond what's being discussed. Like, you can see the floating castle in the background, the giant robot, the superheroes. Like, there's lots of, you can see all the outcomes. But it does end in a kind of flat way, like we were saying. Like, it is a shame that it ends the way it ends. But it's a good ride the whole way through.
For sure. Yeah. We had said in messages before this that it could have been the same length, kind of, but just if they just took their time, if they didn't do the 8 centuries, the 8 decades, even if it was just 8 seconds, 8 minutes, 8 hours, 8 days, and that's it. Like if they spent more time on just that, maybe the seconds, minutes, hours, that's one issue, and then they did, just days from there. I think they honestly could have done most of the same stuff here, because the concept is so big. Like everybody having these genies, I believe that things could progress very quickly in a short amount of time. I don't think it needed to take 800 years to tell this story. I think it could have been told, at least in some form, in 8 days, because people are going crazy with these wishes potentially. I don't know, but that's I could see that working.
And interestingly, there's 8 characters in the bar as well.
I did not catch that.
I literally just went back and I'm just looking at. So I read this digitally, so I've got it open on another tab. And there's 8 characters in the bar. And also, I think it's quite interesting that like we get shown the like wasted wish right at the beginning.
Yeah.
From the girl. I thought that was really well done, and their whole storyline really worked.
Yeah.
And I think following the band all the way through the 800 years, again, really, really worked. And I liked the like compromise they make when they like join all their wishes together. They're like, we can only use the wish if we all decide, because both of the guys had like anxiety over wasting it, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, I forget what they called that. But yeah, it was essentially people who held their wishes too long couldn't make them because they couldn't make up their mind and they got nervous. I like that they had that as a thing, and they're like, you can't even make your wish because you held it for too long. I did think I thought that was interesting how like that gave her an extra wish at the end, right? I thought that was interesting because she almost cheated. Like she had her wish.
She gets 2 and
blew it. It didn't even come true, right? She didn't even just waste it on something. She said it and it didn't come true. And then at the end, you know, if you die, your genie goes away. But at the end, when the other 2 die, since she had shared custody, she had the wish at the end. I thought that was interesting. I don't even know how I felt about that. That was interesting. I liked their storyline. I think that was interesting. Were they kind of a throuple in the end? Sort of.
I think that's kind of in like, I think inferred. Maybe you could infer that there's something.
They definitely love each other. I don't know where it goes beyond that, but yeah, something.
I like that she just tries to take away the autonomy of that guy, and he doesn't forgive her for it for like years. He's like, "No, you tried to make me fall in love with you. Like that sucks."
Like, good for him. Yeah, absolutely. You should be pissed about that. I like that they called that out.
Yeah, that was really. I liked we always talked about the superhero stuff. I think that really struck a chord with me because, like, I like superhero stuff, obviously, and I, like you, was thinking like, oh yeah, I'd be a superhero, and then I was like, oh, it's all these children becoming superheroes and then being brutally murdered because they're not like up for it. Actually, that was a tough one, and of course, Robbie is like out and about doing superheroing stuff. And like everyone's still kind of behind at the bar, and I like that Robbie's like it looks like Robbie's going to use his wish to stop his dad being an alcoholic, and then his dad actually fixes it, which is quite good. I like that a lot, and I like the idea of the like genie remnants, where like when the person who wishes that person back to life dies, the remnant dies, like with the wife, and she also doesn't age. Like she stayed she was in the same state, so like the husband was like an old man and Robbie was older with like a bald spot on his superhero head, which was very funny.
I thought that concept was cool. The is it remnants, is that they called it? I liked that a lot.
Yeah, there were lots of really fun ideas in the book. I'm just looking at a page in issue 1 that's like you're saying, it's kind of all the things that are happening. The double page spread with the monster truck full of spaghetti. I was like, that's such a funny wish for someone to have.
I like this one. This is one of my favorites. It's just like some guy, and his wish was just to have these 2 women,
like 2 hot, tall women. That's it.
That's it. That's all he wanted.
Guy as well. There's like a gamer guy with 2 like demon women falling over him.
Yep.
He's just
Yep.
saying tee.
And this one where the guy wanted to fly, but here he is just
Yeah.
crashing into the ground. Yeah, it's really the art is potentially, like we said, we don't love all of it, but some of the art is like some of the best parts.
That particular page with the crashed guy in the corner,
Yeah,
like that's one of the best pages in the book, I think. Like
I think
it gives
so.
you don't get too much of the person detail, but you get all of the like weird stuff. Yeah, this particular page.
Flying mech, there's a dragon in the back, there's a spaceship, just superheroes, everything going on here. A giant woman holding a car. Like, yeah, that's one of the best.
I think that if I was getting the wish, I'd probably wish for like, it's bad, isn't it? Because like, there's a part of you that's like, oh, I would wish for like, I don't know, world peace or something like that. And then like, but what if I was the Flash and I could run really fast? I could walk through walls. Like that
Run
would be
so
pretty
fast
fun.
that I create world peace.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that
I
would be
know
high on my
myself,
list.
I would blow it. I know I would. I know I would.
You'd be like,
I would
I could do
it.
a cookie right now. And then like
literally. Yeah. I would like to think that I would hold out to the end and be like, I wish it was all reversed. Like everything that happened didn't happen. Just go back in time to when the genies come. They don't come. But nah. I'd be flying so fast you wouldn't believe it.
That's how it ends as well, isn't it? It ends with like going no more genies, or like just let people proliferate.
Right. Yeah.
I like the idea as well. Like going back to the dude, the bartender being the last genie from the previous extinction. I like that when you go back then, they all had, I think it was like 8 eyes and 4 arms, and it was like, oh, that's about a different race of people. I thought that was a fun idea.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that for sure. I really liked how the issue covers were awesome. I love how the Earth changed, or not even issue covers, I guess, but every time there's a time jump, because in the first issue, I think they do that a couple of times even, right? Yeah. Every time there's a time jump, the Earth like has a smiley face, or like arms and legs, or like the moon now has a face and is eating something. And
the evil moon is very funny.
Yeah, they use that that was how the guy died, right? The idea.
That's how
they threw him into the mouth of the moon. I like that. That was cool. That was one of those rare moments where the thing that was in the background becomes like a part of the story. I thought that was funny. I did not expect that to be how he went. Literally launched into the mouth of the moon. That was so good. So good.
One of the stories that I'd kind of forgotten about before thinking about the book again was the Japanese dad, and how he's kind of like crossing the country, trying to I can't remember what he's even trying to get. He's trying to go and get something.
What is he trying to get? It was something for...
It's something for the family.
Yeah. Didn't it end up just being like he was paying a debt or something? Like it was supposed to be something for the family, but then it ended up being like a weird like debt thing. And then he like traveled all that way and just beat the guy up or killed the guy or something instead of paying the debt or something like that, right? I can't even remember.
I'm just gonna pull it up.
Yeah, I'm flipping through. Where is it? Oh, he does leave before Robbie.
Huh. Doesn't he leave super early?
Yeah, I guess he does. Yeah, he gets that.
But then
cool
he
suit.
comes back.
Yeah. Weird. Where do you go, man? I can't remember his name either. I can't remember any of the people's names. I liked his suit. I liked how it was kind of, it could vanish and then come back, and he could get back just a part of it or something. That was neat. like when he's trying to make that person wish to save his wife and the baby as she's delivering, and he just like pulls out the gun and he's like, make your wish, like save this baby, and they don't. But that was cool. Truly no clue.
Okay, it's an issue 2 is where he goes somewhere. I was trying to find it. But yeah, so there's because they've got the food and shelter, haven't they? Because the bartender's got the like doomsday bunker.
Yeah.
And then there's the president. Come on.
Okay. I found when he killed the guy.
So there's a
okay, Mr. Zhang, you got what I told you to bring, and he's like, yes, everything you told me to steal for you. Oh, that's so. Yeah, it was like a bribe. He was told to
like
steal
an honor thing.
Yeah, he was told to steal something for somebody. He said, the reason you blackmailed me, threatened my career, my life in this country, my family, like it's right here in this little memory card. And then he squishes it and then kills the guy. So kind of odd.
The there's another comic from Charles Soule that looks quite good as well that I saw called Undiscovered Country, where the idea is that they America has shut itself off from the world for so many years. Let me see if I can find the actual thing. I'll find the concept here because I genuinely sounded great. Here we go.
Oh,
in the future,
I remember
an unknown nation that was once the United States of America, a land that shrouded mystery after walling itself off from the rest of the world without explanation 30 years ago. When a team seeking a cure for a global pandemic breaches US borders, they quickly find themselves in a struggle to survive this strange and deadly lost continent. Sounds super interesting. There's like 30 odd issues of that, so maybe not one for our little comic book club, but
yeah.
I'll probably be looking that one up.
I'm on a Reddit post about it, and people have mixed opinions, but yeah,
I think
the concept is really interesting.
People probably have the same about 8 Billion Genies, though.
Probably.
And you know, we've come away with kind of a mixed, like, I had the like, I don't regret reading this, but I was like, I wish the last 3-ish issues had been a bit more personal, like you say, less high concept.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, a lot of really good ideas. A lot of really...
Too many good ideas, you might say.
Yeah, maybe that. Too many good ideas and not given enough time.
I think, I would like to see maybe what Charles Soule and Ryan Browne could do with something longer. Like if they had more of these impossible stories they wanted to tell. I'd be interested. They do talk about in the concept, like in the notes around 8 Billion Genies, they talk about a project about the Empire State Building, which sounds fun because I've been there.
Me too.
Well, it's easier for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be interested to check out what they do next. And I do like I said, I do really want to read some more Charles Soule, and probably his Daredevil. I think just because Daredevil is one of my favorite comics characters.
Yeah, I was surprised that you hadn't read his Daredevil, because I know that you are a big Daredevil fan.
I'd read I had read every Daredevil comic from when Bendis took over to when Wade stopped. So I read all of that. And then when Wade stopped, I was like, oh, I don't think it gets better than this.
I've not read one single Daredevil comic.
Oh,
I should fix that.
I want to go out and be like, oh, you should read Mark Waid's Daredevil run, because it is like one of the all-time greatest runs in comics. But it's like it's kind of like a response to the previous few years worth of
Yeah,
Daredevil, and like
a
it's
lot of
not one of those
homework.
ones where you can read it agnostic and have a fantastic time because it's very fun. It's where I don't know if you've seen the like meme of Matt Murdock turning up to a Halloween party with a jumper that says "I'm not Daredevil" on it.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. And also the one of Matt Murdock in a full red 3-piece suit with a Daredevil belt buckle, turning up to court that's saying "Daredevil for the defense, Your Honor" or something. Like
I
those are
haven't seen
both
that.
from Mark Waid's run. But yeah, the Bendis run and then the Brubaker run, which is even better, is like really, really dark, like proper crime thriller, like criminal story stuff. And then you get Mark Waid's run where he's like, I'm going to have fun with this character, whether anyone wants me to or not. And it works. It's great.
I do typically like read for superheroes, like the darker the better for me. Like I love like a lot of Batman. I read a lot of, or I have read a lot of Batman, and I the darker the better for as far as superheroes go. So, but I don't know, maybe worth checking out the more fun side of stuff.
I think you'd really like the early Daredevil stuff as well. Like Bendis came to Daredevil having never really written superhero comics before. He'd written like a spin-off of Spawn that was about the detective characters in Spawn. So he was like a proper crime thriller guy. And he got Alex Maleev, who's like really like his artwork is really cool. It's really like it isn't very like realistic. It's very like stylized and interesting. And he absolutely they nail that comic. But this is not Daredevil times.
Right.
We have discussed 8 Billion Genies. I feel like we've reached the end of the Genie Road.
I think so.
So I don't think we've decided whether we're going to read another thing, or I think we're both up for it. I don't know whether we haven't actually picked a thing to read.
No, we have not. I'm reading this next. Do a power bomb. I can't stop thinking about it. That's what I'm reading next. You don't have to join
Daniel Warren Johnson artwork.
It is. Yeah, Daniel Warren Johnson. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he did a Godzilla book that was incredible.
Really?
And he's doing Transformers right now, and people love it, I think.
Okay.
I'm just going to do a real quick Google.
While you do that, I'll tell you the synopsis of this. It says, Lona Steelrose wants to be a pro wrestler, but she's living under the shadow of her mother, the best to ever do it. Everything changes when a wrestling-obsessed necromancer asks her to join the greatest pro wrestling tournament of all time, which is also the most dangerous. It's The Wrestler Meets Dragon Ball Z in a tale where the competitors get more than they ever bargained for. Necromancy meets WWE. Like, what? I don't know what that means. I'm here for it. Super short. I'm excited.
I've never been into wrestling. That's like the
Me
one
neither.
thing that I never got into.
Yeah, I think it's a very it never did anything for me either, but it seems ridiculous. Seems very fun.
His artwork is incredible.
It's really good. Yeah.
If you look up his Transformers stuff, like I'll send you a panel in the old DMs, but like his stuff, like the energy of the artwork is like beyond good.
I like that.
Yeah, the energy is just really good. I wish there was something like maybe we could redo a powerbomb. Maybe we will.
We'll see. We'll pick something. Oh yeah, okay. We'll see. We'll see.
The picture I was about to send you, Discord has said no because it's so powerful. The image is too big for Discord. Here we go. There's another one that's less energetic and cool, but like his artwork is just insane, and it's really interesting because for Transformers, most of the art that I've ever seen for their stuff has been like really manga-esque. So like really clean, pure line. They're robots, so it's like super clean, pure lines. But what he does is a lot more like
gritty.
A lot grittier and with a lot more style. But like his composition is insane. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's maybe we'll redo a power bomb. I'll announce it on the channel because we didn't give you any time to read 8 Billion Genies if you wanted to read it with us.
True.
But that was because this one was just for us. This wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But maybe next time we'll redo a power bomb and we'll discuss it.
That sounds good.
So if you've stayed with us all the way through the 10 minutes of Daredevil and other comic books chat, maybe you'd like to follow Charlie on the internet. And Charlie, where can people find you?
Right here on YouTube. Charlie Read a Book is my channel. And
I
that's
always say Charlie Read a Book.
See, I don't know which one it is. I've been asked in the comments a few times. Is it past tense or is it like a demand? And I don't know. I go back and forth when I say it. I when I'm doing a review, I say I read a book, but I don't know. Charlie Read a Book also works. Yeah, that's pretty much all that's where I am right now. I just made an Instagram, so I technically have one, but I posted nothing yet because I'm scared of it. So.
I literally just post like one thing a month on my personal Instagram, and I'm like, this is fine. This is promotion. I'm marketing. So Charlie's channel will be linked in the description because that's how these things work. So if you would like to follow Charlie, you should like to follow Charlie and Bagel. And you can find them. Yeah, you can find them at the link in the description down below. And if you like this video while you're on the way to finding Charlie's channel link, you can like this video to tell YouTube that it was a good one. You can drop a comment down below to help us with the algorithm, the engagement, and also just chat with us about 8 Billion Genies or any other comics you want to chat about. And if you want to give us recommendations for shorter series to read, we would totally be up for that. I keep meaning to reread Watchmen. Maybe we'll do that. Have you read Watchmen?
In high school, I read it. So about 400 years ago. Yeah, I did like that. Yeah, that was like probably the first like proper like graphic novel that I like sat down and read. I feel like I read a lot of comic books, but not like just a like boom, just a graphic novel.
Chunk. Yeah,
I think that was like probably at least one of the first ones. Maybe like Mouse before that. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Also, I know you like Saga. I've been reading, I've been reading Saga since it started coming out, and I just got the latest issue just dropped.
I've only read like 6 issues of Saga. I think it's really good.
Oh, you should.
I'm gonna wait till it's done. I'm gonna wait till it's done.
Okay, that's fair. They took a several years gap, I think, because of COVID or something. So you probably made the right call.
Yeah, and I think, I was like, this seems so good. I will just wait because I really liked what I read, and then I've lost my train of thought. But there you have it.
Yeah.
You should read V for Vendetta if you haven't read that. That's amazing.
I have not read that. Yeah, I should.
There you go. That's my like favorite from the old days comic.
Okay.
But yes, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to both of our channels, but mine specifically because that's where you are right now. And let's join this lovely community, and of course, be notified when the next comic book video comes out, which you never know when it'll be. I will not tell you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you on Friday.
Bye.